Juan, saan ka man dalhin ang kapalaran, iisang bayan lang sa puso mo'y laman, pinagmulan at babalikan. Konting tiis na lang at hanggang sa araw na yan ay asal. Kami nandito lang, sabay na pakinggan ang mga kwento nyo. Isigaw natin sa mundo, bagong bayani namin kayo. Sipag at tapang nyo, hinialay sa mundo, sinasaludo namin kayo. Filipino, itaas ang noo, ipagmalaki mo ang galing nyo, isigaw sa mundo.
UK, Pilipinas. Ito po ang Juan Connect. Nagbabalik kami ngayon para sa live na serbisyo publiko. Ako po si Jean Alcantara mula sa London.
Hello po, ako si Crystal Diaz.
At ang kasama nating si Rose ay mukhang nabitin dahil sa kanyang connection. Makikita po natin siya. Oo. Pero nakakatuwa naman na Crystal na nandito ulit tayo kasi natapos na yung 6 months project natin, yung kontra corona. At tinapos na natin yung last video natin last week. So ngayon balik tayo sa mga usapan sa community, yung regular format natin na 3 tayo magkakasama at nag-iimbita tayo ng mga bisita galing sa community. At ngayon, ang pinaka-main topic natin ay ang celebration ng International Day of Women. Wait, eto na si Rose.
Welcome back, Rose.
Hi, magandang hapon UK, magandang hapon Europa, magandang gabi Pilipinas, kung saan man po kayo naroroon, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Ako po si Rose Eclarinal at syempre makakasama natin si Jean at si Crystal. So, pasensya na po, na-disconnect ako, alam naman ninyo sa live streaming itong mga problemang ito ay nangyayari. So, International Women's Day, Jean and Crystal.
Yes.
I'm very excited that we're celebrating it today, but it's actually tomorrow, right? 8th of March, on Monday, ang celebration ng International Women's Day.
Actually, dapat hindi ako kasama dyan kasi International Day of Women, ha? Pero nandito ko dahil gusto ko pakita naman na sinusuportahan ko ang mga babae.
Yan. Yes.
That's correct, Jean. Kasi
Isingit
syempre,
din po ako, ma'am.
yan ang so syempre yan ang kailangan natin. Without the support of men, hindi rin natin ma-achieve yung mga magagandang plano ng kababaihan. So, wag na nating patagalin. Ipakilala natin yung mga guests natin this afternoon. Makakasama po natin ang nag-iisa, Miss Rowena Romulo ng Romulo Cafe.
And also we have Nenita Garrad of Filipino Women's Association.
Carmen Legarda ng Green Party at Alcantara Consultancy.
At si Maribel Pascua ng National Health Service.
Yes, so hindi po namin sa inyo ibibigay lahat in one go. Sa first segment po namin, makakasama natin si Rowena at si Miss Nenita. And later in the discussion, makakasama po natin si Carmen Legarda at si Maribel Fabor. Papakilala ko po yung ating dalawang guest. First, Miss Rowena Romulo. Rowena Romulo is the owner of Romulo Cafe and Restaurant, the first international outpost of family-owned food business established in 2009 in Manila. In less than a year since its opening in March 2016, Rowena has put Filipino cuisine firmly on London's foodie map, winning the Time Out London Award for Most Loved Restaurant in Kensington. This is just one of the many awards, recognition, and accolades received by Romulo Cafe. Before devoting her full-time work to Romulo Cafe, Rowena was an accomplished senior banker with over 30 years experience in the financial services industry, having worked at Citibank and JP Morgan with international assignments in New York, Milan, and London. Her last role was as managing director of global business. She is also a recipient of 100 most influential Filipino women in the world by Filipino Women's Network under the Builder Award category. And in April 2019, the La Salle Alumni Association bestowed upon her the La Sallian Achievement Award. Welcome to the show, Rowena Romulo.
Hello, and hello to everyone.
Hi, Rowena. Magandang hapon.
Magandang hapon, magandang gabi, magandang umaga.
Yes.
That's all my Filipino for today, please.
Okay, Crystal, our second guest.
Yes, our second guest is Nenita Garrad of the Filipino Women's Association. She's the founding member of FWA UK in 1988, recipient of several appreciation and recognition award for FWA UK, honorary vice president, FWA UK, present co-advisor, retired management accountant after 42 years of work experience in the field of accounting. Last job before retirement, she was a financial controller of a company involved in a corporate advertising and printing of publicity materials for international marketing in 2008. Wow, amazing.
Amazing. Magandang hapon po. Welcome to the show. Miss Nenita?
Oh, yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to join you to your program. It's really an honor to be with you, especially in this celebration of women around the world. That is International Women's Day. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, maraming salamat din po for joining us. Ang unang tanong ko kay Rowena, we're celebrating International Women's Day today, but it's supposed to be tomorrow. Thank you for this opportunity to be joining us this afternoon for a useful discussion. Now, Rowena, what was it like working in a male-dominated industry, being able to thrive? Kasi when you left JP Morgan and the banking sector, you were at the top of your career.
Where do I begin? definitely it wasn't easy. And especially, I guess it became evident in the banking industry in particular, where, it was very much a male dominated industry. And when I actually moved to Milan back in 1989, I think it became even more evident that, there was a sort of double standard, right? And I think, at the time I was, a minority in the full sense of the word. I was the only woman in the management team. I was a foreigner, an expat. I was a Filipino, Asian. I didn't speak fluent, Italian when I arrived, and majority of the staff also didn't speak English. So I knew that, it wasn't going to be easy, but I was also determined to make it work. I think it was, a double whammy for me at that time, because not only was I trying to adjust to this new working environment, but on a personal level, I had just moved to, a new country. And so I was also trying to, integrate into the new culture. So, at times, I felt a sense of loneliness, unfamiliarity, and the feeling of, being, out of place. But, nevertheless, I made up my mind that, I wanted to move. And so I was determined to make it work. And, it was awkward many times because, when you're surrounded by Italians, they make their own jokes. They always talk about, football first thing, Monday morning when we had the meetings. And, I knew nothing about, football. I didn't drink, espresso at the time. So, these were all things that, I had to learn. I adjusted. I tried to be more flexible, like you say, when in Rome, do like the Romans. And I guess in the longer term, it paid off. I worked hard. I showed them that, I proved my worth, and, I earned their respect. And, in the end, I think that, was really fundamental for me, because it prepared me for my future venture, into the restaurant industry.
Wow, thank you for that. Thank you for that. For sharing with us your journey. May I ask the first question to Miss Nenita? Yes.
Oh.
Can you hear me po?
Yes, I can hear you.
I understand yung Filipino Women's Association po was formed during a time of crisis. Can you please tell us paano nangyari ito?
Okay. There are still many people who think that FWA has always been a charity organization. In fact, the Filipino Women's Association was established in 1988 in response to the portrayal of the United Kingdom's media, such as the television, documentaries, newspapers, even comedy sitcom, of Filipino women as nothing more than mail order brides. This negative image of Filipinas became a cause of concern. During that time, it was a difficult time for us. It's not like the crisis we are here now, the pandemic, but to us Filipinos, it was difficult because, being portrayed as mail order brides, it is not very nice for many Filipinos, to all Filipino women. So the cost of concern was very high for a small group of professional Filipino women in London, including myself. So we brought this to the attention of Mrs. Angeles Kimson, the wife of the ambassador to the Court of St. James, Ambassador Juan, who became very concerned as well. Mrs. Kimson was surprised that we didn't have any women organization in this country. When I say Filipino Women Organization. So in the same meeting, she suggested we establish a working group to gather interested women who will join a meeting to form an association with one objective, and that is to counteract the negative image being portrayed by the media. So in April 28, 1988, the Filipino Women Association was founded with Dr. Remy Reyes, you must all know her, as the chosen chairman, and Mrs. Kimson as its patron. Now, to tackle this problem, most of the Filipino women were very annoyed at this media portrayal. So we launched a campaign to project a balanced and positive portrayal of the Filipino women through membership in international organizations, such as what is FIWAL, such as the Federation of International Women's Association in London, and Women Council of Great Britain. So we presented cultural shows, we presented shows, workshop that will, we discuss women issues. We also established a committee called Link Watch, whose main objective was to exercise vigilance and called attention to the negative and derogatory remarks related to Filipinos. By acting accordingly, we wrote to BBC regarding these negative issues. They apologized. All our efforts paid off eventually. So the perception by the media of Filipino women changed eventually to mainly responsible, caring professionals and entrepreneurs. Yes, so we have accomplished something. Yeah, yes. And we were successful.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank
I have
you.
now a question for Ms. Rowena Romulo, who's a power woman. She's an amazing lady and very nice as well. So listening to what you've said, you had to go through many vicissitudes in life and to reach where you are. But what would you say to other women that you would like to mentor, or have you mentored before, in terms of reaching for their goals?
I'd say, a couple of things. First of all, I mean, if you're a woman just starting your, career, I'd say, don't be in a rush. After all, Rome was not built in a day, right? So, you gotta be patient. You don't need to have it all figured out from day one. Where you are right now is not necessarily where you're going to end up. And two, be confident, but always stay humble. Work hard, but know when to relax and have fun. And I always find it, useful, first of all, for women to look for a mentor, right? Because especially in my banking days, many of my mentees were actually male. And I always, wondered, how come, there are not, more women asking for mentors? And I wasn't sure whether they felt that asking for a mentor was a weakness. So that's my first advice, right? If you can, find a mentor. I always say, don't try to act like a man, right? Because, we have many qualities that, men don't necessarily have. So, trust your skills. And second, speak up. Don't be afraid to, let your voice be heard. And, sometimes it's very daunting, especially if you're outnumbered, in a room and, you're the only female. So, being a little more assertive, I think, comes a long way. Second, never stop learning. This is, a very important guiding principle for me. I feel that, and believe there's always something new to learn every day, and that, knowledge is power. And lastly, my favorite quote from Steve Jobs in particular is that, you got to find something that you love. I think the worst thing is waking up in the morning to go to work and hating it. Because your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way you're going to do great work is to love what you do. That's it for me.
Oh, yeah, I take that. That's very good advice. Where's our Rose? I think she's
So,
frozen.
Rowena, you were always mentored by men.
Yes, I was always mentored by men. But I was fortunate, actually. I really feel lucky because they believed in my abilities and they believed in me. And again, going back to my Milan days, because that was really, I think culminating for me, because, I was in my late 20s. I moved on my own, not speaking the language. I'm sure everybody can sympathize, right? And the fact that, my bosses and my peers, had believed in, my capabilities, that really helped me, because otherwise it would have been really, really difficult for me to climb that ladder. So the fact that they were very encouraging and they coached me, helped me build that foundation. I don't know why I didn't have any women mentors. Maybe it's just because of the industry that, I was in. But like I said, it really served as a useful tool, and therefore, if you have that opportunity, definitely grab it.
Okay.
To Miss Nenita naman, I want to find out, kasi po go ahead, Jean.
Sige, just a brief question lang, to Rowena. Having lived in Italy, for many years, obviously you presumably you interconnected with the community there, especially the women. How would you compare them, the women in Italy? Kasi we also have a European audience now. How would you compare the Filipino women in Italy to the Filipino women in the UK?
Remember, I was in Italy in sort of the late 90s, early 2000. And, at that time, many of the women that I met or knew were domestic workers, right? So a lot of them, migrated looking for, a better life, a better world from the Philippines. And so I guess compared to the UK here, I think the women are more involved in different types of jobs. So many of the people, like I said, I knew in Milan were, from, say, doing the household type of work. And it was very rare for me to find a Filipina who was, say, working in an industry like I was. But I think that has changed, today. Here in the UK, I think very different. You see women working in, different facets, of the community. Obviously, the NHS, very prominent. But you also see successful women in different businesses here in London.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Miss Nenita, Garrad, I wanted to ask you, kasi po you discussed on paano nabuo yung Filipino Women's Association. It was during a time of crisis. Ngayon, may panibagong crisis na naman tayo. This is the pandemic. So, paano po naapektuhan yung mga projects of FWA dahil ngayong may pandemic? But before you discuss that, maybe you can briefly tell us paano rin naapektuhan ng pandemic yung members of FWA in delivering your mission.
Yes. First of all, after the success of our fight against this negative negative image about Filipino women, as you know, we were successful. But after 2 years, FWA noticed that many Filipinos and organizations celebrate Christmas, with parties and dance, but none celebrated Philippine National Day. So we formed a working group to decide that we should celebrate this occasion, and presented it to the ambassador, and he was very pleased with it. And because we will be showcasing Philippine tourism, culture, and hospitality. I'm telling this to you just to let you know the shift between our first objective of enhancing the image of the Filipino women to what we are now as charities. So the success of the first event, the Philippine Dinner and Dance, and the change in the perception of the women in UK, bring us to a new era. We became charity, and our objectives have changed. So I'll tell you that later on. But you mentioned about how we react during this pandemic. Well, as we all know, the effect of pandemic globally affected our health, economies, social interaction, our lifestyle, and above all, our mental well-being. At the beginning of lockdown, we knew little about the effect of COVID-19. So we posed the FWA members for a while and decide how we can effectively function under restrictions imposed by the government. Many of our face-to-face events have been canceled, sadly to say. So we turn this negative situation into positive by doing all we can under this crisis. During the first wave, face masks were not worn then. So the first thing we did was to distribute face masks to all members free of charge. We recognized at that early stage the importance of face masks in preventing the spread of the virus. But FWA always has as its priority the welfare of our scholars. It realized the hardship that this pandemic has brought to their lives. We sent financial support to help them cope with the depletion of family income and homeschooling. Also, we have, last year was a difficult time. There was even devastation that happens in the Philippines because of the typhoon. If you remember, the typhoon has, created a lot of hardships to many families. So we sent financial support to our kababayans who were devastated by Typhoon Rolly and Ulysses. We managed to raise nearly 3,000 pounds, which were distributed to 4 communities in the affected areas of Bulacan, Camarines Sur, Metro Manila, and areas in Calumpit and Malolos. Of course, as you know, we have meetings all the time. We miss that meetings actually. But we hold our meetings virtually. FWA actually is blessed with members of the executive board who are adept in technology and are willing to share their skills. Those who are not so literate in technology are now able to participate in our meetings. Another thing that affected us, of course, we cannot do our newsletters. We cannot have it printed, distribute it, send it off. Mm-hmm. So our newsletters, which we normally send off in printed forms twice a year, has become a monthly newsletter, which we send electronically. And that proves to be very successful. Another thing that we did to cheer our members and supporters during the pandemic period, we presented a video dubbed FWA UK Christmas Special, premiered last December 20. A famous Filipino soprano, her name's Carlene Moreno Hayward, graced the program with a couple of Christmas carols. The program sent message of love and hope to everyone during the pandemic, especially to those who are alone and whose families are away and no friends around. So yes, because of this pandemic, our fundraising has been hit hard. So if anyone feels they want to support the work of
Can I just
yes, I just want
can
to
I
say
just
that
before you
yeah.
Okay, Jean and Crystal, before you ask Rowena for for maybe last two questions, can I just personally thank FWA, Filipino Women's Association, for the support they have given yung mga kababayan natin sa Bicol, because we have run that campaign, or yung pakiusap sa mga kababayan natin na tulungan yung mga nasalanta sa Bicol region. And then I approach on a personal capacity some of the members of FWA if they can give yung mga kababayan sa Bicol, because I am from Bicol. And then nanggaling po sa pot ng FWA ay nakatulong sila sa Camarines Norte, Jose Panganiban, and I was able to connect them with the local government, the mayor, and also some of the members of the Sangguniang Bayan, at nakapag-donate po doon ang FWA. Kaya maraming salamat. So ako ay living witness of the help that FWA is doing. So hindi lang po ito mula sa akin, but also from the Bicolanos. Meron pa ring mga ibang tumulong, pero siguro sa ibang pagkakataon na natin siya sasabihin. Maybe part 2 of Tabang Bicol, dahil yung Filipino community po ang dito sa UK ang tinap natin to help our kababayan in Bicol. So maraming salamat sa FWA. I don't want to take so much of the time, pero thank you. And the next question for Rowena.
Can I just say, by the way, the question for Rowena is also a member of FWA UK. I mean, she's a great supporter of the association. Lots of meetings happened in her restaurant. So thank you, Rowena.
My pleasure.
Helping the business also. Okay.
Can I just ask Nenita very quickly, because she's been a long time leader of the community. So Nenita, kahit maikli lang yung sagot mo, no? What is the most challenging aspect of the community in terms of managing organizations, community organizations?
What do you mean, managing FWA?
Oh, well, in particular, because that's your organization. Yeah. So, anong mga challenges ang na-encuentro mo at anong solutions ang ginawa mo?
Or maybe the number one challenge you can give, if you can give us the number one challenge, because alam naman natin that there's so many organizations in the UK.
Yeah.
And I'm sure every organization has a challenge. So you are part of an organization that's been in existence for 3 decades. Ano po yung masasabi ninyo na number one challenge ng FWA?
Yes, our priority is our scholars, and we have so many plans for our projects, but the problem sometimes is really gathering women who have time and dedication to do the jobs that we want to do. That is the challenge, because a lot of women are very busy now. They have their own priorities. They have families to support in the Philippines. They haven't really got much time. So if anybody who are willing to support our objectives in pursuing or in carry on with our objectives as FWA charity, please come forward. We need people, we need women who will be dedicated and supportive of our cause. Yes.
Okay. Salamat po.
Thank you.
Okay.
Shall I ask a question finally to Rowena, because she's a very, very, very busy lady.
Yes.
Now, tell us about the challenges you encountered during the pandemic. How are you keeping your business afloat?
Well, I guess the biggest challenge is the uncertainty, right? And the way the lockdowns have been handled. Open close, has really been very disruptive for us. But, number one, obviously, was making sure that our staff was safe, and so that was always my biggest worry. Not being able to operate, particularly in the first lockdown, and not knowing when to reopen, is how to be able to keep their jobs, preserve their jobs, right? Cash flow continues to be a big problem, because on the one side you're forced to close, and you don't have revenues coming in, but you have fixed costs that you have to continue to pay regardless of whether you're open or not. And definitely all the government support has been super helpful, and that has helped us keep the business alive. Whether it's the grants that have been offered, most importantly the job retention scheme, VAT deferrals, business rates relief, that's obviously really been helpful. On the other hand, I have to say that thank you to all the relationships with our suppliers that we have built over these years, because everybody helped each other, in the sense that even my landlord was either deferred my rent or gave me a couple of months of free rent. Suppliers didn't charge or gave 50% off, and I think that's because we've had these relationships with them for the last 5 years, and in good times you always paid on time, and so when the bad times hit, you help each other survive, and that's really again helped us. And lastly, it was our ability, I guess, to adapt and transform our business, which has kept us afloat. When you accept or when people come to dine in your restaurant, it's very, very different from offering delivery, right? Because you serve food in the restaurant, it's hot, it comes out of your kitchen. When you're delivering food outside your restaurant, there are other things you have to worry about. The packaging, is it going to keep hot, hygiene and all that sort of stuff. So that's one thing that we had to adjust. We also, as extended our delivery areas, because we know that most of our customers don't live 2 miles from Kensington High Street. So we hired our own drivers to be able to deliver around Greater London. And we came up with new products. The bakery side, or our panaderia, was launched in May when we reopened after the first lockdown. And now, we're doing, kits, finish at home meals, and, we're delivering nationwide. And, that's how we've managed to survive, this pandemic, basically. I can go on, but I know I'm
Congratulations, Rowena.
I just like to say the breakfast kit. I had it was delivered well packaged, by the way. The longanisa was so delicious. You have the tuyo butter, which is so amazing. It's like salmon mousse, and you have the ube mousse jam. It's like really smooth. You can put it in your halo, and the pandesal is out of this world. So I could just say, I'm a witness to that breakfast kit. It's amazing. So thank you, Rowena.
You're welcome, and there'll be more to come.
Yes.
Rowena, may nagtatanong for parting message from both of you. First, we want to find out kung kailan daw magbubukas ang Romulo Cafe. And then for FWA, you mentioned about the challenge of having women in the group na meron pong oras. So, kung gusto nilang maging bahagi ng FWA, saan po sila pwedeng, who do they need to get in touch with? And Rowena, your announcement for the opening of Romulo Cafe. Please go ahead.
So me first? Yeah. So, first of all, we are open right now for delivery and takeaway, right? So that's Thursday to Sundays, 12 to 8 p.m. Now, based on the current government guidelines, it looks like we will be able to open May 17 pa. Kasi the April date is only for pubs and restaurants and outside seating. And unless people want to eat near the bus stop in front of High Street Kensington, I think that's not, basically feasible at this point in time. So a little more patience, and hopefully we'll be able to see everybody again, mid-May. And I'm really looking forward to welcoming all of you again. I mean, we really miss all our customers. Thank you again for inviting me and for this opportunity. And advance Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
Thank you.
14th of March.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yes, Miss Nenita, please go ahead.
Yes, and because of the pandemic, our fundraising has been hit hard. If anyone feels they want to support the work of FWA UK, and please, you can donate on our webpage, and it is www.fwa.uk.com. And to those who wants to be part of us, wants to join us, please do the same. Go on our webpage, fwa-uk.com. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Maraming salamat po. Maraming salamat, Miss Rowena Romulo of Romulo Cafe, Miss Nenita David Garrad of FWA UK. Magbabalik po ang One You Connect.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I'm so surprised.
Thank you so much. Very happy.
Yeah, it feels good.
Dahil ako po yung napili sa pinakamaraming tao na nag-join.
I didn't expect because I'm thinking it is a scam.
I really don't believe. I thought it's a scam.
Yung tumawag ka po sa akin, Miss Janice, hindi po talaga ako nakatulog noon. Kasi parang inisip ko parang nagbibiro lang.
I feel very, very lucky kasi nga first time pong mag-transfer through World Remit. And yun nga, nanalo pa ako ng pangkabuhayan showcase worth 200,000 pesos.
I feel so excited because it's a good start for the family, for my family in the Philippines. It's an opportunity to start a business, and with the help of World Remit and Brain Smart, we are given the chance to start a business.
Malaki po. Kasi po makakatulong na po ako sa mga kamag-anak ko po, yung magpatakbo ng negosyo namin. At di ko na po kailangan pa mag-isip kung saan po ako kukuha ng pera for emergency kasi po meron na po akong pangkabuhayang package.
If I can set it up and it's going smoothly, all they have to do is they have the clients, they have the schedule, when to deliver, and this and that. Then I can leave them probably for a month for my medical in the US, and then I come back again.
Before, I have already the business in the Philippines. So I know how to run. Even I have a previous small business, but that is a good start for us.
So I can literally, if I can make this really do good and well running, I can help them. It's gonna change somebody's life. And this is my mission before the Lord will take me.
Nagbabalik po ang One You Connect at ang pag-uusapan naman po natin, bahagi pa rin po ng selebrasyon natin ng International Women's Day, Passion and Advocacy. At dalawang guest ang magiging kabahagi po ng ating discussion. First, we have Miss Carmen Legarda. Carmen Legarda, also known as Pai Alcantara, is a Filipino-British citizen with Spanish-Filipino heritage. She is a human resources consultant who has worked with the British Council and Save the Children and has delivered consultancies in over 30 countries worldwide. She has developed training videos and facilitated over 100 seminars worldwide, many on equality and diversity. Carmen is a recognized fellow of the Chartered Institute for Personnel and Development, or CIPD, and currently works with her husband, Jean Alcantara, at Alcantara Consultancy Services, a private firm which offers immigration and employment law advice and services. Carmen joined the Green Party in 2015 because she believes in the social justice policies of the Green Party. These policies are very much in harmony with our Filipino values, she said. Carmen was elected to stand as the parliamentary candidate in her local borough of Hendon. She is the first Filipino to run for parliamentary elections for the Green Party. Magandang hapon. Welcome to One You Connect, Carmen Legarda.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Carmen, or Pai. Hi, Pai.
Hi.
Hi. Call me Pai. Happy International Women's Day.
Okay, and let me now
Hi,
introduce.
Pai. Thank you for joining us. And we have another guest.
Our other guest is, of course, Maribel Pascua Favor. She is a native of Banayoyo, Ilocos Sur, and is a multi-awarded registered nurse working in ophthalmology, and she's a sister at Queen Victoria Hospital, NHS Foundation Trust in East Grinstead in West Sussex. In the community, she is the lady and wife behind the success and achievements as public servant and community leader of her husband, East Grinstead former town mayor, Councillor Danny Favor, the first Filipino mayor in the UK. She serves as a personal assistant, advisor, motivator, inspiration, and oftentimes, apparently, the mastermind and the action taker. She is also the co-founder, one of the managing directors and secretary of the Filipino-British Nurses Extra Care East Grinstead. Please help me to welcome Maribel Pascua Favor. Nakamute ka, Maribel. Ayan.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to your show.
Okay, great.
Good to see you. Welcome back. I understand you just come back from the Philippines.
Just about 10.
Oh, so you're still you're jet lagged then.
Very jet lagged.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much for joining us.
And I think I have catch colds is because it's sudden.
Are you okay? So Jean, would you like to do the honors for the questions for Pai?
Well, I'd rather let Rose do that.
Oh, then she's back.
I'm back.
Yes, she's back.
There's a problem with my connection. Apologies. Pero bago ako magtanong, gusto ko sanang banggitin lang, makikiramay tayo sa pamilya ni Miss Maribel Favor. She lost her mother, and I understand last year also she lost her father. So nakikiramay kami sa iyo, Maribel, ang buong One You Connect at ang mga kaibigan natin dito sa United Kingdom. At maraming salamat for accepting this invitation to join us. Kasi alam ko kaka-touchdown lang ng eroplano galing sa Philippines and you're joining our discussion. So ano pa, fresh from the Philippines, kumusta naman ang biyahe ninyo?
Una sa lahat, salamat sa pakikiramay ninyo, and the biyahe was like it's quite comfortable, except because we had flown earlier than expected from the Philippines, so we have arrived early in Bahrain, and the hours that we waited for the connecting flight is longer, so it's quite tiring. We waited for like about 8 hours in Bahrain. And then come back here, it's from Manila to Bahrain. The airline is quite packed and it's very crowded. But from Bahrain to the UK, the social distancing is widely practiced and it's quite comfortable flight. And even coming out from England, from London, going to Bahrain itself is also, the social distancing is well practiced, and it's quite strict about it's, as you know, we had just been allowed to go back to the Philippines from the 1st of Feb. And there are so many paperworks that you need to complete before you can even go. And thanks to a friend, Peps Villanueva, who had helped me so much for this, that had enabled me to go home. And well, just to let you know, I had to quarantine for 2 weeks before I quarantined in a hotel for a week, and then a home quarantine for another further 7 days. So I only have like freedom of 7 days before I came back. And again to quarantine for a further 10 days.
Oh my goodness. So it's like really it's not family emergency kasi yung pag-uwi po ninyo sa Philippines, no? But you spent a lot of time talaga quarantining.
That's true.
Okay. Oh, well, salamat, and we're happy that you're back. And then you will be working again in the hospital. We need you. We need your husband to help the UK, the NHS. So, first question natin, Carmen, Miss Legarda. Tell us about what you do as board member of the DEICA Fund, which supports and promotes people of color into leadership roles within the Green Party.
Okay, yeah. So basically, DEICA Nazaribe was a Green Party activist, and in fact, he was running and campaigning for mayor in North Manchester. He's also a poet. He was quite well known already in his community. And he wanted to highlight the problems of the industrial revolution up in the north, and how much it devastated the local climate, and the environment. So he was running for mayor, and unfortunately he passed away very suddenly on the 1st of January 2017. And because of his popularity, they did crowdfunding for him, and they raised quite a lot of money to try and encourage other people of color to join the Green Party and stand either for positions in government, or also to stand in positions within the Green Party leadership itself. So the idea of the fund is to well, actually, what happened before is I'm a relatively new board member. There was when everything happened so suddenly, I think there was something like a analysis by paralysis. So no funds were dispersed at all for the past 3 years. So what we did was we looked at the terms, and we looked at the purpose of the fund. We looked at the terms and the conditions and the criteria for funding, and so we've been able now finally to give out funds to some deserving candidates who are running across the UK. So the idea is to get people of color. So it includes, Filipinos. If anybody's wanting to run and join the Green Party and wants to stand for a local council. And the idea is you have to raise your own funds, but if there's some sort of particular project that's needed that's not funded, you can apply to the DEICA Fund for that.
Okay.
So it really encourages the voices. The idea of the DEICA Fund is to amplify the voices of the local communities, the minority communities, the Black and minority Asian, but Black and Asian and minority communities.
Okay, I have a question for Miss Legarda. I know that.
Easy on her, Jane.
Huh?
Easy on her.
Yes.
Yeah, be gentle.
In the UK, there are two main political parties, and one of that, of course, is former mayor, Councillor Danny Favor, and I believe Maribel Favor, you're also a member of that. Anyway, so how do you think it's worth for Filipinos to also join the Green Party, and why?
It's a good question. Actually, there is actually you can actually answer that question yourself. There's a website called Your Politics, and what it does, it asks you questions about what you believe in. So, do you think there should be NHS for everybody? Do you think education should be free? Do you think corporations should be taxed higher? All these kind of questions. And then depending on your answer, it actually tells you which political party is closest to the policies that you believe in. So it's very difficult for me to, everybody thinks the Green Party are sort of tree huggers and climate change and sort of, it is a little bit like that, but actually the social justice policies around the Green Party are actually very strong and very important. So I think I mentioned before that the social justice policies of the Green Party are very much like our own Filipino values in terms of bayanihan, in terms of caring for children, caring for our elderly, caring for the community, and helping each other out. So it's very much, for me, the Green Party was closest to my own personal values. But, there are other, I mean, now the Labour and the Conservative parties, I think through the softening, if you like, of the Conservative Party, I think there's a lot more commonality now between the two major parties than there ever was before. So it's very difficult to say, no, you must be one or you must be the other. I think if you go on that website, Your Politics, check it out and see which party is closest to you.
Thank you.
Okay. Can I just say something? Kasi I missed the introduction of Miss Maribel Favor. I was disconnected, so hindi ko na narinig fully yung introduction. But our two guests, Maribel and Carmen, they have quite a few things in common. They both studied medicine and nursing. And Maribel is, of course, still in the nursing profession, while Pai ventured into something else. And both actually are married to men who ventured into politics. Si Maribel, yung asawa niya, si Mayor Danny Favor, was a mayor for many years. And then Jean ran for parliamentary elections, right, Jean? For European Parliament. So just a background on that, because maybe later we can ask them about the role of women in to the career of their husband or yung profession ng kanilang mga asawa while also pursuing their own career. So before we go to that topic, I'd like to ask Maribel, how are you coping being an NHS frontliner?
Being an NSS frontliner is quite challenging. I'm just so lucky that our hospital is a non-COVID hospital. But then again, saying that, you never know who comes into the door, right? So, but because we still have patients, but we see them on a face-to-face basis has been reduced, and most of the consultations that we do is virtually. And so that everything is delivered safely and efficiently, we do kind of we have a local policy which is in line with the government's policy that I work in the main outpatient, just to let you know. And we practice the social distancing, and we give times to the patients, and then when the clinic is quite full, they have to wait outside, and we have this because we have to clean the chairs for the patients too. So it's so challenging, and there's so much work that is involved, and also protecting the dignity of its patient. But being a nurse during this pandemic means we are not only providing support for our patients, but we are also providing support for our colleagues and showing kindness to everyone, and this sort of humanity or humanitarian kind of thing, wherein if you have to take into consideration what the patients come in, and we still have to provide them privacy and treat them with dignity. And I realized that
Na-vaccinate na po ba kayo?
Oh yeah, I had my first dose and I'm due for a second dose on the 22nd.
Great.
Wow. Good
Because
to
we
hear.
have this like 10 to 12 weeks apart.
So I've been dying to ask this question, and then after this, Crystal and Jean, you can ask them. But what I've been wanting to ask these two women is they have succeeded in their chosen fields in their career. Maribel is a nurse, but also I see that Maribel is 100% supporting her husband, who is active in the Filipino community, and Danny Favor was also mayor. Ikaw yung parang wind beneath his wings, no? Ikaw yung babae na nasa likod ng kanyang karera sa politika. And so for both of you, ano yung role na ginagampanan ninyo doon sa asawa ninyo para marating nila kung ano yung gusto nilang marating or ma-achieve in their profession or in their passion or advocacy? Kasi si Danny Favor is active in the community, si Jean also very active in the community. Kung hindi siguro sumusuporta ang asawa, hindi rin siya magsasucceed sa mga proyekto niya or engagement in the community.
Well, first, before your partner would engage into something else, I think Danny also asked my opinion if I would be willing to support. And if that is his desire and if that is his passion, I cannot say yes. And sometimes, like being in the politics, Danny did not really like to get involved with politics, but then I had encouraged him to join. And well, I think that wives or partners, if you give 100% support to your other half, their inspiration, or how do you say it, they become more inspired to work with the community because they know that somebody is there for them. Well, all his projects, especially the community projects, all these charities that he does, is I'm always there with him because he needs most. I'm his number one help in everything that he does. And also I ask my friends and colleagues as well to help us somehow. Is that but I know it's very difficult to put things together, especially that we both work full time. But kind of, if you think about it, it's just you're hitting two things in one go. What it means is that you're already doing that at work. We're already dealing with patients, and then when we go into the community, we go to the community as well, and we do the same thing.
Yeah. So
what about Pai? Yes.
Yeah, in terms of Jean, I think like Maribel, I think basically if you have a long-term partner, husband, and they are very interested or passionate about something, it's exciting. It's fun to see, and it's another adventure to see your husband or your partner want to do something different and want to do something that they passionately believe in. So it was very easy to support Jean because when he first ran, I think back in 1985, 1990, when was that, Jean? 1998. sorry. He first ran in our local. We were living in Bayswater at the time, so he first ran with the Labour Party, and he came in third. And actually, we just decided, well, our free date and actually, come to think of it, Maribel, you and I are similar because I don't know if you work together with Danny, but Jean and I used to work together in the British Council. So we would see each other for lunch almost every day anyway. So it meant that we could cover a lot of admin stuff during the week. So the weekends, if Jean needed to campaign, if we needed to go out, we could normally devote either at least half a Saturday or half a Sunday to exploring, to understanding how it all works, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's basically, and also Jean is also a supportive husband. So if I've got interests and other passions, he also supports those. So as Maribel was sort of implying, it's a sort of give and take in a relationship.
Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry, I don't want to dominate the question. I also want to so we have both sides. So Jean, sa'yo naman, how does it feel? What is it like to be married to an alpha female?
Okay.
On the spot here, Jean, on the spot.
Okay. Well, actually, you're right, because my wife is fierce. She's very independent, and she's not like a typical Pinay, because first of all, she grew up here in the UK, in Oxford, where she came when she was just 4 years old. So her mentality is part British, and of course, she also came from what they call a buena de familia. So a buena familia. So and I came from an ordinary background. So I cannot expect her to, for example, in terms of household chores, I cannot expect her to iron my clothes. Or there'll be war. These are basic things, but that's the reality. We share things, we do chores together.
Actually, sorry to interrupt, but that's a very good point, because I remember telling Jean, "Don't marry me if you want me to iron your clothes."
Yeah.
That's a good example.
Yeah, but I think the good thing about that
I
is
can relate.
yeah. Well, the point is we're equal in everything. Really, we decide everything, and so hopefully, we'll continue doing that. I mean, our politics are different, because I've run obviously for Labor, for Veritas, and then as an independent, and then I became a conservative. But she has gone for the Green Party, and I respect that decision of hers. I mean, that's her own view. But yeah. So it's been a good partnership so far. So we're hopefully going into retirement, with that kind of relationship.
Good answer.
Wow. That's good. Okay. Oh, safe answer. You're happy with that, no?
Yeah, he's safe. You really put him on the spot. Nice one, Rose.
Sayang wala si former Mayor Danny Favor.
Sayang wala si Danny.
Would be interesting to ask him that question, because sa Filipino community, I acknowledge talaga the contribution of Maribel Favor, that she is the soft power behind that man, na tumutulong sa kanya sa activities niya, because they're always together. And she was right in saying it na kailangan suportahan niya yung asawa niya 100%, and then what they do in the community is extension of their work, kasi they are in the nursing profession. So yung mga tulong sa mga kababayan natin in the community is an extension of what they do as a couple. At saka interesting din yung sinabi ni Pai na magkasama pala sila ni Jean dati sa British Council, no? I can't imagine na makakasama ko yung sa trabaho yung asawa ko. Pero kudos to you guys. Even Crystal works with her husband.
Yeah.
Even now,
You know, if you must know, we also work together
there you go.
ever since
24 hours a day.
1985. We had worked together.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, that's
Wow.
commitment for you. That's amazing.
Wow, you're a team. You're a team talaga, Maribel. You're a team. So alam na po natin, no, na si Miss Maribel is the soft power talaga behind the successful husband. So, maliban sa iyong career as a nurse, as a veteran nurse in the NHS, siya ang pillar ni Mr. Danny Favor. So, go ahead, Crystal, before we wrap up the segment.
I know
Question.
there's so many like comments on Facebook, and we have so many viewers from FWA UK. But there's a good question from our former guest, Bernadette Prado Casanova. She's a doctor. Bernadette, she was asking, how can we encourage more Filipinos, women and men, to pursue higher learning or obtain skills for better opportunities and improved employability? So that's a very good question. I think for me, FWA, the main objective really is to support scholars in the Philippines. So we're promoting education. For me, it's personal. It's very important to learn new things. So I support FWA UK for their objective in that way. So what about you guys, Rose and Jean, and even Pi and Maribel?
Sorry, I think there was a little lull in the signal. So I'm not sure. Can you repeat the question, please?
Okay, so this is from Dr. Bernadette Prado Casanova. She was asking, how can we encourage more Filipinos, women and men, to pursue higher learning or obtain skills for better opportunities and improved employability?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's for the two ladies.
Oh, it's for us. And you as well,
Maribel.
you can answer. I think it's for everyone, really.
Well, actually, I was going to say something that's a bit controversial, because in our generation, I think we saw higher education and learning, getting a degree, as a stable as a sort of passport to ensure stability in the career. But actually, I think nowadays you have to have a more diverse portfolio of skills, and so learning today doesn't necessarily mean a higher education, going to university. Learning can be attending seminars, getting certificates, obtaining your degree through, or obtaining some sort of skill through different ways and means. And that, especially with social media and especially with technology dominating most of the employer's market, the labor market. So the one thing that Rowena was saying earlier is follow your passion. So if you do have a child or a relative who believes or loves something, if they can find a way to pursue their passion, that's actually the golden ticket, isn't it? To being able to wake up and love what you do every morning.
Okay.
It's true.
Maribel?
And also that if you're given an opportunity to further your education, just here in the United Kingdom, we're just quite lucky, we Filipinos, if you're given the chance to be sent for a higher education by your employers. But especially those who are employed within the National Health Service, there are so many projects of the service that you can further your education. They encourage you to take further nursing, to get a higher degree, and I support you in all your progression in your career, like getting into the leadership course. They encourage you to get a higher positions, and there is this continuous process of learning. And with whenever that opportunity knocks the door, please welcome it. And that is one way for us Filipinos to get that through.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
Actually, I
thank
have
you.
a little something. Well, I sort of alluded about this, alluded to this while we were sort of preparing, no? So, Pai, if you don't mind, I'll mention that your great great grandfather, Benito Legarda, was a Philippine commissioner during the American times, and he was the first Filipino House of Representatives, a member of the U.S. House of Representatives from 1907 to 1912. And the last one, of course, was Carlos Romulo, Rowena's grandfather, in 1946. So, with a great great grandfather who had this pedigree, if you like, how has that affected your way of thinking? Has this pushed you into a greater role in public life? Because I know your Lola was also an ambassador, and your sister ran for the Senate. So,
interestingly, it's a good question because I had no interest in politics whatsoever. My sister Katrina ran for the Senate before, and I was more interested in Jean's career as a politician but the reason I got into the Green Party was really because well, in the beginning, I don't know if you remember around 2000, was it 2010, when the Lib Dems got all our votes because they promised that they were going to not introduce tuition fees at university. And then when we voted for them and they got into power, they promptly introduced tuition fees at university level. So I was so disillusioned, I started to look around for another political party to vote for. And that's when I started to read the Green Party manifesto. But I would say that it's not necessarily politics that interests me. It's like Maribel said, it's another way of trying to serve the community. It's another way of trying to give back. It's another way in the way that Jean and I were working in an immigration consultancy, and we can help a lot of Filipinos that way and help change lives that way. And I think whether it's politics, whether it's FWA, whether it's whatever charity you want to belong to, I think it's a way of just trying to work with the community and trying to work with others to make the world a better place in whatever way we can.
Before we wrap up, this is actually from an educator, Ed David. Chad, can you please pin this question? Such a delight to see strong Filipina women leading the way in such diverse fields. Question: how can we ensure Filipinos' sense of gender equality achieve such depths that discourse becomes more gender sensitive?
That's a great question.
I think that's for you, Pai.
This is right up my alley. Well, in fact, I think actually there needs to be more men involved when we talk about women's equality, because it's very different. It's a bit like, the glass ceiling for women is we always complain men don't see the problem. As Filipinos or as Black members of the community, we tend to say that white people don't see the problem because they're in this position of privilege, white privilege. And men often don't see the problem for women because they're in the position of male privilege. So I think, how do we ensure Filipinos a sense of gender equality? I think maybe we need to probably just talk about it a lot more in the houses, in our homes, amongst our friends, don't be afraid to bring men, to discuss it with men around you, because the thing is, women, sometimes we think men don't understand us, but in fact, a lot of men do. And when we don't bring them into the conversation, we don't see them as part of the solution. But I think the reality is both men and women are part of the solution for whatever equality that we're trying to achieve. So for gender equality, ideally, we really should be looking to support each other the way that we've been talking about supporting our partners and our husbands. That should be the way forward, I think, in gender equality.
I think just for information, Ed David is a head teacher in the UK,
right,
at one of the schools in London. So obviously he's very, very into this kind of issues. And I hope you're well, Ed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So siguro ang panghuli natin is parting message from both Pai and Maribel. Inspiring message for the celebration of International Women's Day. What can you impart? Ano yung pwede natin ibahagi sa mga nunood? Maybe those who would like to study, maybe those who follow in your footsteps, maging veteran NHS frontliner like Maribel, active member of Green Party or venture into politics and stuff like that. So please go ahead.
My parting message would be that let your passion be the fuel to drive you to reach your goal in your dreams.
Nice.
Good one.
Wow.
My parting message would be...
That's good. That's good.
Sorry. Yes, very good, Maribel. In fact, I'd like to build on that a little bit and say that, during the pandemic, one of the main aspects of the pandemic was mental health, the effect on our mental health. And I was talking to somebody who's on the board member of Mind, the mental health charity. And one of the ways we can improve our mental health during the pandemic is to find a cause. Find a cause that you believe in. Find a avenue and something that you really passionately believe in, and see what you can do. Maybe you can donate an hour or two per week of your time. Maybe you can do some work for them. But if you can find a cause that will help you smile, give you satisfaction, give you a sense of achievement, that will definitely help during the pandemic.
Okay.
Great. Maraming salamat. Thank you, both of you. If you want to add, Crystal and Jean, anything, go ahead.
Crystal?
Well, for me, I'm grateful that I'm able to do what to show my passion to the world via When You Connect, via my charitable work with FWA, and Dire Solicitors as well. So being a woman, it's great to be a woman in this month celebrating International Women's Day. So thank you very much.
Well, I'd like to just reiterate what I already said earlier, that, in the UK particularly, I think we estimated a long time ago that there are 60% Filipino women in the UK as opposed to 40%. But what I mean to say is there are a lot more women, so hopefully there are a lot more things to achieve for Filipino women here. But we, the men, the Filipino men, will always be behind you to support what you do, and push for empowerment, really, at all levels of this society, because this is where we live now. We are living in Britain, in the UK, in Europe, and we have to play our role. And we have to support each other to achieve, the best for ourselves. So all the best, po.
Thank you so much, Jean. Very well said. So that's why we, even when you said na next week ka pa namin makakasama sa One You Connect. We wanted you in the discussion. Definitely, your voice is important. And kasi maraming yung gatekeepers in a lot of organizations, in a lot of companies, talagang mga lalaki. So, importante that we get them to support whatever endeavor we want to do. Yun lang, that's from my end. Gusto ko rin pasalamatan ang for supporting One You Connect, and of course yung guest natin ngayong hapon from FWA UK, Miss Nenita, Garrad, and Rowena, Romulo of Romulo Cafe, Carmen, Legarda of Green Party and Alcantara Consultancy, Maribel Favor of the National Health Service. Maraming salamat po. Samahan po ninyo kami sa susunod na linggo sa One You Connect, at formally ay i-end po namin ang Kontra Corona. So maraming salamat sa nanonood sa atin mula dito sa UK, sa Europa at sa Pilipinas. Yung mga mensahe po ninyo, sisikapin namin sagutin, and just give us some time. Ako po si Rose Eclarinal.
And I'm Crystal Diaz.
At ako po si Jean Alcantara. Salamat po.
Bye-bye.
Salamat po.
Salamat po.
Bye.
Juan, saan ka man dalhin ang kapalaran, iisang bayan lang sa puso mo'y laman, pinagmulan at babalikan. Konting tiis na lang at hanggang sa araw na yan ay asahan.
I'm so surprised.
Thank you so much.
Very happy.
Yeah, it feels good.
Dahil ako po yung napili sa pinakamaraming tao na nag-join.
I didn't expect because I'm thinking it is a scam.
I really don't believe. I thought it's a scam.
Yung tumawag ka po sa akin, Miss Janice, hindi po talaga ako nakatulog noon. Kasi parang iniisip ko, parang nagbibiro lang.
I feel very, very lucky kasi nga first time kong mag-transfer through World Remit, and yun nga, nanalo pa ako ng pakabuhayan showcase worth 200,000 pesos.
I feel so excited because it's a good start for the family, for my family in the Philippines. It's an opportunity to start a business, and with the help of World Remit and Brain Smart, we are given the chance to start a business.
Malaki po. Kasi po makakatulong na po ako sa mga kamag-anak ko po, yung magpatakbo ng negosyo namin. At di ko na po kailangan pa mag-isip kung saan po ako kukuha ng pera for emergency, kasi po meron na po akong pangkabukayang package.
If I can set it up and it's going smoothly, all they have to do is they have the clients, they have the schedule, going to deliver, and this and that. Then I can leave them probably for a month for my medical in the US, and then I come back again.
Before, I have already the business in the Philippines. So I know how to run. Even I have a previous small business, but that is a good start for us.
So I can literally, if I can make this really do good and well running, I can help them. It's gonna change somebody's life. And this is my mission before the Lord will take me.